Okay, hi you guys. So it's Toki here. I create on IMVU. Um, I'm just gonna do a, just like a few videos on like how to create different things like mesh heads. What has me wanting to start this series specifically is the fact that I'm seeing a lot of photorealistic mesh heads, which is fine on a surface level, but what drives me insane and what I personally just cannot get past is people taking other people's faces, especially when we start talking about children and photoshopping them onto IMVU heads. That's what drives me insane. And that is one of the reasons why I want to do a whole series and helping people learn how to create, especially since when I first started creating, there just was not a lot, especially when it comes to mesh heads and I guess even eyes and resources and stuff like that. There just wasn't a lot of resources around. Um, so yeah, I kind of just want to help you guys with that. So I'm thinking as of right now, I'm gonna do eyes. So the first video that I'm gonna do is showing you guys how to create eyes. Okay, so to create eyes, the first thing that you're gonna want to do is find an art software thing. I know some people use Fire Alpaca, Photoshop. I personally use GIMP, so that's what we're gonna be learning off of today. But yeah, so we're gonna be going based off of GIMP for right now. So to start with eyes, basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna find the eye product, and where you see where it says derived from, you're gonna click on the first link that you see from there. As you can see, I kind of created my own kind of thing. Um, but if you want the lowest I guess charge rate or whatever you want to call it, you can always just use the original IMVU official female eyes thing. But um I mean, it doesn't matter because I'm not gonna upload it anyways. But for now, I'm just gonna show you guys here. And then once you find something that you're gonna want to derive from, you're gonna click on derive from product. And I create using the classic IMVU thing. I don't care for Next. I don't care for mobile. So again, everything that I'm showing you here is pertaining to classic. Okay, so what I personally like to do when I am creating is I like turning on my outfits and picking out one and then putting on a simple pose that I have right now. Like I have a whole thing for poses for creating. This one is by 2Ps, who unfortunately is no longer with us. She didn't die. IMVU, from what I know of, kind of fucked her over, and she decided to go to Second Life, which understandable. But as you can see here, Astronaut by Ryuri. Um, that person no longer creates. You can look up T-Stand. That's also what I did. Any pretty much any straight standing basic ass fucking pose like this that you can find, I would go with that. It just makes things a lot easier to see. And then I also like to put on a super big, super tall scaler so that I can see what I'm doing. And then also, as you've noticed, the room has changed. I don't like the white background. I don't like the shadows in that room. It messes with my eyes super bad. So I just find a basic room, a shadowless basic shadow room, photo rooms. This one's another one where you can change the colors, but anyways, that's not the point. So now that we have found what we're looking for, what we're going to do is we're going to open GIMP, and then I believe it is 512. You're going to want to open a new canvas or whatever it's called, 512 by 512, and this is your thing. So um okay, you're gonna want to just click on the basic circle brush. Nothing special about it. I personally find that making the eye whites, whatever it's called, like a pure white. I personally find that to be a little bit too weird. It's, well, not weird, but I find it to be a little off-putting, especially for my avatar, since she's like darker than the average avatar on IMVU. To be kind of a little bit off-putting, if that makes sense. Like, it just kind of stands out too much. So I personally like to kind of come and just play around with the whiteness, like the base like thing, um until I find something. So and if you hear squeaking, that's like my chair. It's kind of just squeaky. So like, I feel like this kind of works. So now this is our background, this is our base. What you're going to want to do is just create a new layer. Sorry, I'm terrible. This is going to be like your eye color base. So basically just kind of find a color that you want to do. I don't know. I guess we can just go with like black for now. So while you still have the basic like circle brush. Okay, sorry, I had to burp and I didn't want you guys to hear it because that's kind of gross and disgusting. So I had to like pause the audio for a bit. But basically, you're just gonna want to get it to as close to the center as possible. And then that's like not really all that great, but like this. And then of course, if you want to do like look into the left, it's basically the same thing. You just kind of like off center it a little bit. And now she's looking to the left. So I actually like this eye size, so we're just gonna like jump right in. So create a new layer. And then, okay, so I had to just make sure I kind of had a good idea of what I'm doing, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna show you this like once we're done. What I tend to do is like hit save as and save everything as XCF instead of PNG, so that way in the event that someone asks me for like a specific color or whatever, I can just go in, double click, and whatever. So yeah, but what you're gonna do is, so this isn't all the way black, like this isn't a pure black, so, you know, as you can see, it's like two different blacks. So you're just gonna go in and make it pitch black or like whatever other color that you're doing. And you're just gonna find the center and you're just gonna dot it there like that. So then you're gonna wanna go up to filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and you're gonna like blur it so that it's not completely, you know what I'm saying? You can also kind of do the same thing with the bottom one if you want, just so that it's not as harsh. It just kind of depends on what you're going for, but we're gonna see what this looks like. And then you're just gonna go to export or export as, and it's gonna ask you to give it a name, whatever. But if you've already did that, then you're just gonna hit export to whatever the file name is. Then you go back to IMVU, and there's like the base of your eye. So now we're just gonna come back, and now we can go maybe add like a lighter color, and I'm gonna change the brush up a bit, and we're gonna like zoom in, and we're just gonna, I'm personally like really lazy, so I like to just do, hold on, sorry, my cats are misbehaving, but basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna do everything that I just did before. Hold on. My cats are driving me insane. But anyways, you're just gonna want to go in with like a little bit of a lighter color, and then you're just gonna like duplicate it. To get it like that, I use the smudge tool. But then you're just gonna duplicate it, and then whatever this icon is up here, I don't know. I think usually when you first install GIMP, it's the United Transform one. So basically just right click on this and it's going to bring you up a bunch of options. What we're looking for is flip. So we're going to flip it and then we're just going to click. And then we're just going to merge it down so it becomes one layer. You can kind of just adjust it if you want. And then we can blur it like this. And export it. And now our eyes have like a wee bit of depth, okay? It's not amazing, but this is like the baseline. You can kind of go in and experiment. Maybe if we make it like a smidge darker, possibly, or lighter, sorry, then kind of like blur it a little bit more so it doesn't really have those like super uber strong edges. Ew, I don't know, is it a vibe? I don't know. Let's trust the process. I'm gonna trust the process, you guys. Oh, also, if you want it to go all the way around, another thing that you could do is just go above like your base color layer and let's lighten this up. And then what I like to do is do like a slightly smaller circle for the eye. And then Gaussian blur like this and just kind of like blur it out like that. You can also like play with the opacity of the center and then again export it and stuff, you know, for like that. But that's not what I want, so I like this one better, so we're gonna do that. Right, so like now that this is like the base of your eye, we're gonna add another layer and then you're gonna go back to your colors. And I honestly can't really remember, but like let me see something. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is I personally like to just take the rectangle select and just kind of like drag it about halfway. This is gonna be like the eyeball shadow. I don't know how to like explain it, but this is gonna be like your eyeball shadow, and then you just kind of scribble it in like this. And I like to put it on so like if you're on GIMP, you just go to mode, and then I personally will put it on like overlay, Gaussian blur once more, and then take like the linking thing off for Gaussian blur so that you can do it separately. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but like it's personally kind of like what I personally like to do, and then just kind of like do it like this. Let's play around with the modes a little bit, see if we can, I don't know. Well, what I usually do when it doesn't typically work out is just duplicate it. That's the best way I know how. Everything I do is self-taught. I'm sure that there's like a easier, less complicated way to do it like that, but yeah, anyways, so basically at this point, you're just kind of playing with this shadow or whatever until you find something that kind of like works. There's also different ways that you can do it too, like it's so hot in here. I know that some creators, for whatever reason, well, not really whatever reason, but I know for some creators, instead of doing it like straight across, they'll do it like this. But I don't know. I personally find it depends on like the heads that you wear and the eye shape of said heads because sometimes it works, sometimes it just kind of makes it look a little weird, but we can try this and see maybe. You know what I'm saying? And then it just kind of gives it like a more, I don't know how to describe it. Like, let me see if I can go inside of her head. Can I go inside your head? Like, that's kind of what it looks like. Just showing you guys the inside of her eyeball. So it's looking like we're probably gonna have to like bring it down a little bit. So I'm gonna go back to the rectangle thingy and we're just gonna bring it down a different amount. Like I said, it also depends on like the head that you have because like different heads have like different head shapes. So it kind of looks a little bit like on some heads, the way that I'm kind of um I guess blending this might look more extreme than for the head that I have on now. Um but let's see. Yeah, so see how it kind of gives it a little bit of that like shadow? That's kind of what we're looking for. She just kind of looks a little dead. I actually kind of like these. I might make it in a different, like, a bunch of different colors. Um, so yeah. And then you kind of just want to like come back to whatever anatomy this one's called. And now you're just gonna add like shines. I don't know what kind of shines I want to do for this. But now you're just gonna go to like white and you're just gonna kind of put like dots and stuff. You can also go to like the pencil brush and kind of just, and the smudge brush and kind of just have fun with that. And then like this, for example, this is just something like super quick. Usually I work with like a reference for what kind of shine I want. Export it. And like, there's your shine. See, it's so pretty. So stunning. Um, let's see what something like this kind of looks like. Uh, yeah, see something like this. You see how it's like coming together? And then if you want to see what it looks like when she's at like normal scale, you can just, so this is normal scale up close. Very pretty, very pretty, very pretty. Look at her. She has like a glimmer of hope in her eyes, something that a lot of us don't have nowadays. Anyways, and then if you want it to like not be so like harsh, you can also just kind of like that, and then now it's kind of like broken up a little bit. You can also like go a little bit bigger, kind of make it a little bit more dramatic if you want. It just kind of depends on your personal preference and like what you want and what you're looking for. See, like now it's like less visible, but like you can still kind of see it. If that makes sense. I don't know. I'm kind of rocking with this. This is kind of cute. I might do like a few eye colors of this and upload it to my shop. I don't know. Then of course you can always just, oh, I don't want to move this. I want to move this down and see what that kind of looks like. It really just kind of depends on what you're looking for. Like I said, again, there might be like a easier, less complicated way to do this, but as far as I'm aware, for some reason, a lot of creators tend to like gatekeep this type of stuff. So, yeah. And then also, if you want to add like the little pink color, you can also just kind of come in and I don't know. This is something new that I'm trying, so we're gonna see if this even works. But you can also what I'm gonna try and see if works is you can go up here to the rectangle select, right click, and then it should be eclipse select, and then just kind of like, and then, oh, I didn't want to do that. I'm like trying to add the pink to it, so we'll try it right there. Right, so now that you have it selected, just click on the brush. Then you're gonna go to up here at like the top of GIMP where it says File, Edit, Select, View, Image, etc. Click on Select and then click on Invert. So now you can color like in here without it doing this. So I'm gonna choose like a fleshy color. Try to find like a fleshy pink color, I guess. And then, or you know, if you don't want to be difficult like I'm being, you can also just use the paint bucket brush, but I like being difficult, so I'm not doing that. And then go back to select and hit none, and it gets rid of that. And then once again, go to filters, blur, Gaussian blur, and just kind of like that. And then export it and see how it looks. What does it look like? Nothing really, but depending on how I did this, if we go here and I don't know, you have your avatar having on like a thing where she like looks left or not, that's fine too. A lot of this is really just trial and error. So then in that case, just kind of, I don't know, or if you know you want to, you can also like freehand it, kind of draw it up a little bit, freehand it, and then just Gaussian blur again, export, edit. Anything at all. No? Okay. That's okay. You just go back and, oh, I didn't want to do that. You just go back and, yeah, do it again. Bring it all the way up if you want. I normally don't do this. So yeah, you know, me personally, I normally don't do this. But yeah, if you want, you can add the fleshy, meaty part. Yeah, there you go. See? Now it's showing. Now we're moving. What it looks like when we take that off, we're about to find out. Now it's just back to like white, but when I upload these, probably not going to do it with that. But if you want to, you can always add that to give it more oomph. You know what I'm saying? Kind of want to do this a little darker, like so. And that's how you make eyes. These are really cute. I really like these. So then if you want to make different colors, what I personally do is, first of all, do all of that. What I personally do is I just, once again, go up here to the top, click on colors, colorize, and then honestly at that point you just kind of colorize all of it. For like little things like this, you can also just go up here, colorize, like turn it all the way to white and then put it on overlay. And then since this is black, you can probably also put that on overlay. Maybe potentially, oh, wait, hold on, let her cook. Hold on, because that might actually be so super duper cute. OMG, does that really make a difference though? Hold on. See, this is like, it takes me forever to like make stuff because I get distracted a lot of times. Oh, hold on. Put it on normal and then, oh my god, hold on. This is actually so cute. I wonder, hold on. This is really pretty. Oh, oops. My arm was on the space keyboard. And then, of course, if you want to add like streaks to like this or whatever, you can just put it on smudge and then just kind of like, I don't know how to like, but if you want to add like the whatever it's called, you just kind of go in and like this. And then you just, and let's see what that looks like. Does that look? I kind of hate it, but like either way, work with it a little bit and like, you know what I'm saying? To like create that. But like, yeah, that's kind of how you make eyes on IMVU without using AI, without stealing other people's work. So yeah. Okay, bye.